Why you still have in the morning?
Yeah,
I village called Marudawe. Yes.
Good afternoon, honorable members, honorable Speaker Bodogotara Makurupeche, the Deputy Speaker, the Secretary, and the staff. You are welcome to this meeting. Actually, we know each other, unless on the other side there are new staff members, then they can introduce themselves so that we can know them.
Chair, thank you so much for the opportunity. I will allow the Secretary, here we've got the Deputy Speaker. The Secretary, I think, has got one or two officials he wants to introduce. Secretary. But before then, I think in the previous meeting, it was an omission on my side. I did not introduce the new staff that works in my office. You will know that Makado has been my chief of staff, who was seconded from other units of the legislature. So now Makado has been referred back to his original responsibilities. We have got now new chief of staff in the office of the Speaker. The chief of staff is Advocate Norman Mabunga. He can raise his hand. He's now the new chief of staff. It's now almost 2 weeks in the legislature already. There is a position in the office of the Speaker that we never filled for too long. But because of the media and other things called the medializing, you know Nkuna Isaac. Nkuna Isaac is the parliamentary officer. So the position that was never filled was the medializing officer. But due to the fact that we are dealing with a lot of media queries and other related, we felt it was necessary now that position as well, as per the advice of the Secretary, that we fill the position. We have got Tate Selbi Makhoto. Selbima Khoto is an advocate as well. Although his background is journalism, his background is medializing in various departments, it's now the medializing officer in the Office of the Speaker. Thanks, Secretary.
Thank you very much, Speaker, Chairperson, Honorable Chivas, and Honorable Members. The new faces that would want to introduce, I'll start with the Acting Divisional Manager, Human Resource and Labor Relations, Ms. R. Cladi. I'll request her to stand up. The next person that we want to introduce, it's a position that we have now permanently filled. We have appointed the Chief Financial Officer, and he has just started yesterday. His name is Mr. N.J. Mabote. I'm going to request him to rise as well. Speaker, those are the two new faces that we can introduce. The rest are the same faces that we used to have in the meeting. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Secretary. Roll call is circulating. Any apologies? None. Confirmation of agenda. Visit of the day. 4.1, response of the implementation of committee resolution, including report on public works infrastructure projects. Question and clarification briefing on the Legislature annual performance plan and the budget for 2025-2026 financial year. Questions and clarification. We have 5 state of administration in the Legislature, announcements and closure. I think that we are going to deal with 4.1.
I want to request the chair and the meeting, if agrees, that item 5 be an in-committee, where we'll request to excuse the officials. We remain with the Deputy Speaker and the members of the committee. So on that note, we're not even able to distribute some of the documents that we felt the committee members need to have. I wanted to request the indulgence of the committee if they agree.
Actually, in that state of administration in the Legislature, there is a resolution by this committee that we need a comprehensive written report first, so that members can peruse them, which means we are not going to entertain it today. We'll have another day so that we can deal with that state of administration in the Legislature. That is the resolution of this committee. Then, which means we are going to deal with 4.1, 4.2 simultaneously. Then we have question and clarifications. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much. We'll follow you, but there are things that unfortunately, due to confidentiality of the information, might not be able to be submitted when the report of the Secretary comes. So if what is what you believe in, it's okay, but you must be aware that you mustn't blame us to say we've not given you information, because there are things that the Secretary won't be able to update you on. So if the committee agrees to that, we accept your decision. The Secretary will write the report at that time, and you consider it at that time, and will only consider the ones as per your decision of the committee. And can I allow the Secretary to proceed with the implementation of, with the briefing on the resolutions? Over to you, Secretary.
Yes, Secretary. 4.1 and 4.2.
Okay,
Okay, first adoption of the agenda. Honorable Mulapo.
Thanks, Chair, and greetings to Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Secretary, and the officials. No, I will Tanga wish to move that. We thank you. We adopt the agenda with an omission of item number 5, but I want to make a submission that we are really sorry, Honorable Speaker. You came prepared, but then we are not prepared for that item.
No.
Okay, no, it's fine. It's okay. But I was to propose, Chair, that maybe that we need to deal with the matter as soon as possible.
Okay.
Maybe let's agree by that 2 weeks. We must arrange that meeting.
Honorable Nempumbuluni, you second the.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I do second the motion that we adopt the agenda with the exclusion of number 5.
Thank you very much, Secretary.
Thank you very much, Chair. I will request that the presentation be flagged. Members will recall that the previous time the presentation was combined with the fourth quarter. I'm not, maybe when the IT people changed people, they did not update each other. The presentation was also sent. With your indulgence, we can just forward it to them now.
Okay, no. We can do that.
They are sending the presentation to the IT. The IT must then flag it back.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for your indulgence and apologies, Honorable Members. That was the content. We can move to the next slide. Next slide. We are briefing the committee in terms of the implementation of the resolutions. I would focus on the resolutions and indicate the progress and where there are challenges. I'll skip those that are without challenges. On the issue of additional vehicles, we are indicating there that the institution is to procure 11 vehicles in the current financial year. And of those vehicles, 2 of them will be the 8-seaters, which already are going through the procurement processes. And we are indicating that the remaining ones out of the 11 would be considered on the basis of the useful life, which is those that have exceeded the 150 kilometers as per the policies of the institution are going to be replaced. And we are indicating the challenge there is the limited budget resources. That is the reason why currently we'll only replace we'll buy the 2 8-seaters, and then the remaining number of vehicles, we'll consider them after the adjustment budget, so as to make sure that we have got a complete fleet of vehicles that are within the required kilometers ranges. So in simple terms, in terms of the report at our disposal, there are those vehicles that we need to make sure that we replace. In terms of the proof of consultation, we are indicating the process that was undertaken. As we did explain in the previous Oversight Mechanism Committee, we want to confirm that there was a process undertaken which also included the involvement of labor within the institution insofar as making sure that the strategic plan document becomes a final document. The process started with the review of the strategic plan at the top with the top management, including the briefing of chairpersons of committees, wherein it was indicated that in the next review cycle, we must then consider the chairpersons as per the previous Bolivia meeting, so that by the time we have the final draft, at least they would have brought everyone on board. So we can confirm that the consultation process was undertaken insofar as the review of the strategic plan document of the legislature. The next slide. The different budget figures, we can confirm, members, that though that table was corrected, and you can refer to pages 96 to 99 of the annual performance plan. You'll recall there was an issue around the figures not tying with what the Honorable Speaker tabled, and we indicated that was an error. That error has since been corrected, so which simply means that in your table, you would have a budget for 2025-2026 aligned to the one tabled by the Honorable Speaker at 671 million, if I'm not mistaken. Then on the information about political parties, we can also confirm to members that that paragraph was amended as it appears on page 42 of the APP. Next slide. With regard to the issue of understaffing, I would want you to pay attention to the PEC because there was an amendment of what appears on the slides. And what appears in your PEC, it refers to a total number of vacancies of 22, and we have since filled those positions. So we are on progress in terms of making sure that the issue of understaffing, it's been addressed. On the issue of the framework for the study tours, we are indicating that we are finalizing the first draft to be presented to the Executive Authority, and our target time is the 30th of July 2025. to have the draft presented and the executive authority providing the input. On the issue around the salary advices, we can confirm that members are already receiving their salary advices. What was outstanding was with regard to staff. And with regard to staff, one of the reasons that could have delayed them receiving their salaries is that there's other information that must go into their salaries, which the system was not properly configured to can begin to incorporate such. And for an example, leave days. When you receive your salary slip as an employee, from time to time it must also reflect the number of leave days credits that you still have. Because of if your leave days are supposed to be taken within a financial year, and you don't take them, you stand the chance of losing them out. The reason is because when you do the AFS, we also have to disclose what we call leave accruals. And the way they were set up previously, it was not in line with FAMPLA. And we have directed that the period of accumulating leave must be in line with the financial year. Hence it has delayed. But the process is underway. They would be receiving their salary advices as well. So in simple terms, we would want to make sure that for whatever that gets paid to an employee goes through a salary and they must appear on the salary advices. Next slide. On the issue of the appointment of service provider to remove some of the trees, we are indicating that we are engaging with Public Works because Public Works is the landlord. There is no service provider that was appointed either by ourselves, and Public Works is the ones that are currently assisting us insofar as that is concerned. What you see currently, which you must appreciate, is that the environment within the legislature, the cleanliness is beginning to show because Public Works is making sure that from time to time where there are grasses, they trim. But we have brought the issue of the trees to their attention, which will be part and parcel of the projects that they are implementing or they are going to be implementing. On the issue of the vetting of employees, that long paragraph seeks to say we are now moving with a high speed. We also had the State Security Agency as the custodians of administering vetting. They advised us that they can't start with vetting until they've taken everyone on board to understand why vetting, because vetting is different from just doing your normal screening. So they have come to the institution, they've done presentation to top management, they've done presentation to the general staff, the appropriate forms have been distributed to all staff, and we are in the process of receiving those forms, and all what we have to do is just to hand them over to the State Security Agency. But we have already indicated to them in terms of the prioritization in terms of vetting that it will start with those that are doing critical work because they are the custodians of sensitive information of the institution. We also advise, Chair, which I must also bring it up, that their expectation is that we need to conduct our business in a manner that recognizes and appreciates that we are a national key point. For an example, they have indicated that how we should treat some of our meetings. We should be able to appreciate the fact that they become sensitive meetings to a point that they gave an example in meetings that are classified. You are not allowed to go into that meeting with a cell phone. And honorable members would know that currently that principle is not being applied, and that's where they indicated that it has got a risk of creating what they call espionage. Espionage, that's when you go and release information that you're not authorized to release, which is sensitive information. So those are some of the things that they are working with us, helping us, including the classification of some of our documents, because it then forms part and parcel of the vetting, because we have been vetted, because we'll be in control or access of some sensitive information. Next slide. And the last one was progress report on benchmarking with other institutions. We can confirm that even in our meeting with the Speaker recently, She has directed the administration to run with speed with regard to the benchmarking, and we are already starting the process to make sure that benchmarking is done now that even the structure has been approved. That is insofar as the resolutions are concerned. We can move to the next one. I think on this one, Chairperson, I've seen the invite, which also said we need to talk to the issue, the implications of the decision by the minister to withdraw the appropriation bill and the division of revenue bill. And we are starting there just to summarize that once the minister has withdrawn the appropriation bill, it meant that he needed to retable, which was done. The retabling was done, and there was also a court, an out-of-court settlement or a court ruling that directed that the process should restart de novo. By de novo, they simply meant that everything else should start as if nothing happened. It is for that reason we are coming here to this committee as if nothing has happened, but we know that the reports were tabled. And what are the implications? The MEC also followed suit to retable by withdrawing the Limpopo appropriation bill and retable it in the House, which is the reason why we find ourselves rerunning this process. And by the contents of the MEC and the minister's presentation will differ as follows. In terms of the national minister, there were some changes that needed to be factored into the appropriation bill. But those changes did not affect the Limpopo appropriation bill. In simple terms, there were no changes in terms of the allocations. Everything else remained the same. But what the MEC needed to do was just for procedural purposes, retable in the House, and for all the departments to also do the same in the House. That is the only implication that we can talk about there. And we are confirming that there are no changes in terms of the APP, and there are no changes in terms of the budget allocation as previously presented before the committee. But next slide. But by so saying, Chairperson, we are simply saying that the APP that we are presenting before yourself, there's nothing that we have changed in terms of the legal requirements. It is still the same as the one that you have already adopted previously as the committee. But what we are doing today is just to fulfill the legal requirement processes as per the court ruling and as per the withdrawn appropriation bill, so as to make sure that everything else is done. So as a result, I may not want to talk in detail to the legal framework, and with your indulgence, I may not talk into specific details in terms of the APP, but we are prepared to take questions. With your indulgence, if you would want us to go through the same APP like we did previously, we are more than willing to do that. But we felt, because it was a retabling, we shouldn't bore the committee by just reinventing. The same way that the budgets which were presented by honorable members in the House, they were advised not to go to the detail as they did, but just to flag the areas that talk to the budget, Chairperson. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. I think that honorable members have read the document. And yes, we do understand your presentation previously. And I will allow the honorable members for question and clarity. Honorable Matobohe.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings to the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Secretary of the Legislature, Dr. Make, and your team. Firstly, let me welcome the presentation, and I appreciate that this time we have actually received documents well in advance there, and we were able also to peruse them as members of this standing committee. However, I would want to bring the following to your attention. That some of the things that we have also noticed in the APP, and also acknowledge that I've seen that the APP has been signed by the executive authorities. Yeah. But there are areas of concerns, even if we understand that there is a 2025 and the one that has been presented to us. And I would want to bring the following to your attention on the APP, especially on focus areas. I will take you to page 44. Page 44 on the APP. So when you go to 8.1.2, it talks about human resource management. But where I'm sitting, I see that there was also, I'm actually worried about whether the authority was able also to make quality check on some of these areas. You see on page 44, it talks about the municipality. The municipality has developed and approved its organizational structure to assist in delivery of services to communities. And I don't think it doesn't actually have relevancy to our APP, which I think these are areas that also need to be given attention. Page 44. For sure you are able to see it, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, that's why I'm just worried about the quality and whether the executive was able also to do quality checks, because I think it's important for us to do that from time to time. So you also go to, which I think is some of the spelling errors, but I think also when we do some of the quality checks on our documents will also help us. Page 43. So there's a graph there, and when you read the sentence, you see it's actually decreasing. You are not sure if you might not be able also to interpret the graph. It's 200E, and I suppose it was supposed to be 2009 when you start to analyze the graph. You go to the legal factors in terms of what we stand for. It should be the Limpopo Legislature instead of Limpopo Provincial Legislature, the second paragraph on 8.1.6. Then with regard to program 2, you go to page 121. Yes. You are on page 43. Eight 1.6. Yes, it talks about Limpopo Provincial Legislature in creation of statute. But I guess normally when you call it, should be Limpopo Legislature. Because I guess those documents must also at some stage go for archive, and it's important just to get them right. Then the last thing that I would, and I'm just giving you a sample of what when I was actually reading the documents, I was able also to get, even before 121. Then it talks about, maybe I'm not sure because in terms of the new organizational structure, There are new introduction of new titles there. Let's go to 121. There's a general manager supply chain. For sure, you are able also to see it. But when you go to even to others, you will see that what I'm picking up in these documents are actually the same, because you will also get general managers everywhere. Where it's supposed to be a unit manager, it's actually manager supply chain in some of the documents. And the last thing that is there on page 63. On page 63, it's you look at the targets. You know, some of these targets is actually 100%. We know, and a target must be measurable in terms of how you should actually when you have to do on quarterly basis. But when it's 100%, how do you then measure the performance? Which sometimes might be quite difficult when you work it in terms of percentages. So those are the few things that one was able also to pick up from the APP itself. But you will agree with me where I'm sitting in terms of the quality, of course, of the report, and some of the errors that we are able also to pick up from the report itself. Thank you very much, Chair.
Any other questions from members? Honorable Nepumburuni? Yeah. Let's start.
Thank you very much. Again, in addition to the proofreading, if you just check page 27, yes. Page 27, the last sentence. This in policy, I think the person wanted to say this implies. Can you see it? Just page 27 there. And also in page 28, population group B. It reads as follows. The provincial population is dominated by black African with 96 what, followed by white. The white, it has a small letter there, and not a capital letter. And if you go, the other population groups making up the provincial population includes Indians, and the colors, all those one, they have the capital letters. Just to add what has been said by Morris, but my actual question now is on the resolutions. On the resolutions is if you check on the vetting, then on the last paragraph there, it was indicated that vetting is conducted to employees up to the level of Deputy Director General. So I don't know whether we have a Deputy Director General on the legislature. I don't know up to which level there. If maybe I can just get the clarity. And the other one is on the additional vehicles. I just want to know on the 9, which will be replaced. whether the process has already started to replace them, maybe to resell them or whatever, those that exceeded 150,000. So aligning with the limited budget there, I don't know whether the 9 which we are going to dispose, the money will be used to add to that which we are going to buy, because the challenge there is that awaiting the budget adjustment. But I just wanted to know the amount of, the money which we are going to get from this 9 is not going to be used to buy the others. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chair. I want to check, the second presentation, which is the APP. It is clear that there are financial implications that the Secretary has not highlighted. The Speaker called for a sitting where the appropriation bill, the division of revenue bill, and related document was tabled and adopted, well aware that the national budget is in dispute, actually being litigated in court. But then the Speaker continued with a sitting where we are going to be wasting money on traveling, on eating, and related expenses. And then the Secretary, when he tells us here today, he says that there were no financial implications. So I want to know exactly how much did we spend in that exercise. Because this has to be said that we wasted money in that activity, and that much money is so much. I understood financial implications to be meaning exactly that. And then why did we really convene a sitting and then decide on things that we know very well, that we must wait for the national budgets to be properly adopted? The second issue in relation to the document presented, the APP, I share the same sentiment that there are a lot of mistakes. The document was poorly compiled, and it goes beyond grammar. What we pick up here is cut and paste in some instances. And I want to take you to page 57 to just page 57. You see program 1 that deals with governance and leadership. The purpose there, which I'm not going to read in the interest of time. Take it as is and go to page 62, and you look at program 2, administration. The purpose there is exactly the same. And then you begin to question yourself, what is going to be done under program 1? How can it be the same as something that is going to be done under program 2? And this is a pure cut and pasting, which really shows that this document was poorly compiled. I'm not going to really go into highlighting the issues of summary, but I need to overemphasize, what one of our colleagues has touched on the issue of targets. If you look at page 65, we do not understand how are you going to determine the performance annually. If everything is 100%, even the fourth quarter is 100%, the third, the second, and the first. How are you going to deal with the annual performance if the indicators as indicated here. Another thing, on the question regarding vetting, which the colleague, the previous speaker has touched on. If it is a mistake and there is nothing called Deputy Director General, who should exactly deal with this? Maybe it's a mistake, but then you can indicate to us, actually, is it up to the Director General? And also here, my understanding and my recollection of this is that here we were dealing with vetting of senior people before they're hired, not the general workforce, not ordinary workers, not general workers. We were not interested in vetting those people. We were interested particularly on the secretary whose appointment really caused a lot of brouhaha in the media. And we said as a committee, we cannot keep quiet. We need to understand if the vetting of the secretary of the legislature is in order. That was actually our interest as a committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. My colleague has tried to cover on some of the things that I wanted to raise. I just want to check the statement that is on page 44. Just a clarity as to what does it mean. Maybe I don't understand it. The statement that is saying on top there, furthermore, Limpopo Provincial Legislature has established an ethics committee that assists in dealing with allegations of misconduct by members and for the staff, except the accounting officer. And it is the responsibility of the accounting officer. So if we can just be clarified on that statement so that we are able to be on the same path. Otherwise, Chairperson, the points that I wanted to raise, other members have already raised them. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Yeah, I think I'm also covered because I don't think it will be necessary to continue. Though the matter that I noted, it was not raised, but it is related. For example, on page 40, under environmental factors, they are still referring to municipalities and all those things. But you look at the main heading there, and it's under situational analysis. They give all these external factors referring to the province referring to the province. But when it comes to environmental factors, now it is referring to municipalities. So that's the confusion that it has caused, and also numbering is also a problem. So some of these issues were raised, but these are continuing. That is where I noted. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair, and greetings to the Speaker and the officials and the colleagues and the members. Chair, firstly, I want to congratulate the legislature for filling up all the 22 vacant posts that were advertised. But now the statement that was made by the Speaker now to say, because there were so many media queries, which then led to them having to fill up the office, MLO. It suggests that it was now filled because of the pressure coming from the media, and to me it defeats the purpose of us seeing the need of having to fill up each and every vacant post, and this goes beyond just the legislature. But secondly, Chair, we are covered mostly on many issues. I want to raise the last thing on the referencing on page 25 on the APP, that when we reference documents of government, do we reference even the academic codes or rights? Because the Atlas and Lazen B that was cited there is an academic book on strategic planning. It's used in schools. So wanted to have an understanding, how do we reference this in these critical documents? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Matata Marcel.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and let me greet the speakership and their entourage, honorable members. Mine is not a big issue because all the issues have been raised by honorable members, which means that I'm covered. I also welcome the presentation by the speakership. My question is, I understand that the legislature have got, to benchmark with other legislatures. So I just want to know as to whether our legislature is benchmarking with other legislatures. If so, or if yes, I'm asking that they give us the sister legislature in which they are benchmarking with. Thank you very much.
Very much, Honorable Marcela. Honorable Mete?
That tree is irritating, seriously so.
They will give us time frame, and because it is under the public works, then yeah, let me give this opportunity to the Honorable Speaker, Dr. Makumeita, to respond.
Thank you so much, the errors and many things that we miss. We will request that to assist the meeting. And I will request the DS to come in after. So thank you. Thanks, Chair. We all listened to the questions. I'm going to allow the team. We came here as a collective. The team members will assist in responding. Like I said, there is a person who's accountable for documents that we made to sign. She will be given an opportunity to deal with some errors that you are indicating. How did they find themselves in these documents that we finally signed ourselves? But as well, I'm not sure because it's only the new CFOs here. So it means on financial matters we'll take them because it's only started yesterday. So the secretary will deal with. Then from there we'll allow the DS, because remember some of the things are more on internal arrangements. So she's the chair of the internal arrangements as well. So she will be able to assist us in responding on some of the information. Secretary, over to you. Then if there is anything that is left not attended to, I will come back later. Thanks. Secretary.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you very much to the Speaker. I will go to the first batches of questions that were raised by Honorable Matabohe. I think some of them would just be the errors that we take note of and be able to correct them. But on the issue of positions of general manager, there was no alignment between the previous strategy that we're reviewing, the APP, with the structure that existed. And on the basis of that, we needed to make sure that there is full alignment and the level of authorities as well are well defined. I'll give an example. The previous structure, the only most senior person after the secretary was only the CFO. So there was no other senior manager at that level except the CFO. And that's an anomaly that needed to be corrected. So if you look at the arrangements as matter stands now, those positions that you see as general managers are the ones that replaces what used to be called divisional managers. And they were not all treated the same insofar as the norms and standards in terms of human resource management was concerned. So in that situation, the general manager positions will only replace those that were called divisional managers. It's just a title change, and to make sure that we bring everything on par, so that you don't have a divisional manager in one unit, in one department, and you find that there's no other most senior person in the structure. And that's unfortunately something that we picked up in terms of the need to reorganize and make sure that we align the functions that have to be performed. So the same way as where you used to see unit manager, it's now manager. So those are the things, those are the factors that informed and influenced the need to review the organizational structure to align with the strategic document so as to make sure that there's proper management and monitoring. So in other words, the general manager position replaces what used to be called a divisional manager. We never had top senior manager except the CFO, and that is the reason why the structure also will incorporate those new titles to make sure that we have got a proper aligned structure. Then on the issue of target, 100%, I'll just repeat the same illustration that we did previously. Those 100% means that we are measuring performance not in a cumulative way. It's non-cumulative. What does that mean? If on a monthly basis I'm supposed to submit a report to the executive authority, the target will say 100%, meaning that I will not fail to submit that report because it is what is required to be submitted. But in a cumulative way, that's when the targets are measured based on the milestones. If for this quarter we say that, let me talk about purchasing of vehicles. We say we want to purchase 11 vehicles. We then must be able to say, when do we want to make sure that the vehicles are in place? Then the first quarter, it will only be saying that we would have concluded the procurement process. Then you give it a percentage, that will be 25%. Then you go in and say, what are the activities that built up the 25%? Advert, bid minutes, bid report, approval by the secretary. Then the second quarter, it will say, for an example, 100%, meaning that it is the 25% plus the 75% work that would happen in that second quarter, if that is to be completed in the second quarter. But if it's something that is going to take place annually, I'll give you an example. We are supposed to submit quarterly reports. We have got the first quarter. So if we are going to say 100%, it means that we can't miss making sure that the first quarter report is submitted. The second quarter, it will tell you 100% because we need to make sure that the very same target for that quarter has to be met. Hence, it is not cumulative. It's non-cumulative. So where the targets are 100%, it simply means that you've got to deliver as per that time what you are supposed to deliver, and you are going to be measured on the basis that this target does not concede, it's not process-driven. You've got to make sure that you have delivered it. You can't be saying, no, we've got the draft report. If the Farm Plus says by this period the report must be submitted, that's a 100% target that you must meet. So that is the reason why in some of those targets you will see there are those you will find 100% throughout, but there are those targets that will find that it is 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. That simply means that for that key performance indicator, it is built up into, it is broken down into milestones. So each milestone will account for the percentage of the work that would have to be done. So that's where you see the difference between cumulative and non-cumulative targets. We are measuring these targets on a qualitative base. That's another factor. It's not on a quantitative base. Where it's quantitative, we'll be talking of number. That will simply mean that this will be talking about the number of sittings that we must have. And we should be able to know in a quarter how many sittings we ought to be having, because we know the legislature sits twice in a week. So when we are going to measure that in the first quarter, we'll add the numbers for the first month, the numbers for the second month, and the numbers for the third month. It must give you a target, and that's what we need to be able to achieve. And for the year, for an example, we'll be having 22. So that 22 must be broken down into the period that the House will be able to conduct its sitting. So here, the difference, Chair, is that we've got to measure impact, and impact can be measured from a qualitative point of view. Hence, we have got percentage. But where we've got to measure in terms of quantity, that's where we'll use numbers. And the difference will then be that these key performance indicators, there are those that will measure cumulatively, and there are those that will measure non-cumulatively. And that is the reason why you will see that those targets, there are those that the performance measure are in a cumulative way, and others are in non-cumulative. Obviously, cumulative means in an incremental way, and the ones that are non-cumulative, they are not incremental. That is what you've got to deliver, and you are going to be measured on the basis of that which you've got to deliver. The question of the caps locks, we would also deal with those as measures that we need to correct. On the issue of Deputy Director General, what we're sharing there, Chairperson, we're just extracting from the presentation that was done by State Security Agency when they were workshopping us in terms of their processes of vetting. It is not something that is in our control. It's something that they were presenting to us, saying they only do vetting in government up to the level of Deputy Director General. Now, in our case, it will mean that they can only do vetting up to the executive management. The reason why they put that, and I think maybe through the Honorable Speaker, we might have to request them to do the same presentation, because they don't even allow to give us, because it's their intellectual property in a way. Now, the simple explanation they provided was that they can't do vetting on political appointments. That's why they even said at the national level and all other levels, post of Director Generals, they don't do vetting, hence they end up at the Deputy Director General level. So that was coming from the presentation which they were sharing with us. It's not that it was talking to the legislature. It was talking to how they do their vetting processes, saying to us, this is what the process which they follow when they have to do their vetting. On the additional vehicles, the process hasn't commenced. Safe to say we have done the verification and the audit in terms of requesting the report to say which of the cars have exceeded the 150,000, and we still have to qualify or quantify the cost and also the issues of the value. Yes, at the time that we'll be disposing of the vehicles, we definitely want to make use of the money that we can generate out of the 9 vehicles to augment what we'll be able to have to purchase those additional vehicles. The issue around the financial implications and the tabling of the report, I must indicate that when we were tabling the Limpopo Provincial Appropriation Bill together with what the Speaker has tabled, we're following what we have been advised by the national government, specifically to say, by the time we tabled, the minister hasn't withdrawn the appropriation bill and the division of revenue bill. There were still issues at the national level insofar as the disputes that were happening But at that point in time, what was tabled by the minister triggered the provinces to go and make sure, the MECs in particular, to table the appropriation bill, which activated the various votes to also follow suit and table their budget. So insofar as that process is concerned, we did not have authority to not table because of the fact that we needed to follow the legal prescripts until such time that it was legally enforced by the courts, which led to the minister withdrawing the tabled appropriation bill, which also again triggered all of us to follow suit insofar as that issue is concerned for tabling. So by implication, we would have not held back the tabling while the minister has tabled and while the MEC has also tabled, because we're guided by their processes insofar as the tabling of the budgets. I think I've dealt with the issues of vetting. I'm not going to repeat that one. I've noted where there are pages that have been flagged insofar as some of those issues that would have to attend to based on the advice that it's been provided here. I'm not going to comment on the vetting of the secretary. I think probably that the executive authority will be able to deal with. The issues around the environmental factors, we take note of that. The referencing, I think where you are going to talk about something that you are not the originator, you've got to acknowledge the originator, whether it's in a government document or wherever. But once I'm going to talk about something that was defined by Vuchivas, I must acknowledge that it is not my original, it's not my vision. It is Chivas's vision, which must be recognized and acknowledged. So hence you will see, because we wanted to define what a vision means, and we did not have our own version of the definition except that which sits in the academic books, and we needed to acknowledge that that definition, the originators are those academia. On benchmarking, I think we have not commenced the process. We have just finalized the engagement with the executive authority, and we will be able to provide the list once we finalize which legislatures we are going to be benchmarking with, and provide the committee with those sister legislatures that would have benchmarked with. I'm trying to look if whether I did not see, and we take note of the instances where we need to go and correct the errors that appear in the document. Thanks, Chair.
No, I want Sesimulogad, because members, you must know that there's always a difficulty in making the approvals. Some are memos, some are where you normally get them way in the last minute. And obviously documents like these huge ones, I can indicate that saying you have gone through every page sometimes might not be easy, because you rely on the officials that advises you, and you take advantage that they've gone through the document, because it has gone through a lot. It has gone through the processes. But I would want the person responsible for the document to say something. Sesimulogad, can you please say something, because we fight on this thing that if we don't do quality assurance, it's not the responsibility of the secretary to read page 1 up to the last page. The reason why secretary is supposed to have officials that are specialists in their own areas is they must be able to advise correctly, and later the secretary to advise the speaker correctly. But these errors, some of them are glaring and are embarrassing. I mean, if in our document there is a mention of a legislature, for example, no one will take kind of it. It shows the level of challenges we have in the legislature. Although nobody will ever accept, I will continue to be as the executing authority to take responsibility. I will not say any other person, but it's something that I don't take kind as well. Because now I do read, but if a document comes today when it's supposed to be submitted tomorrow, you might not be perfect. We all have our own weaknesses and own mistakes. Can you say something, sis?
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Secretary and my colleagues from administration, let me take this opportunity just to acknowledge or to appreciate that we give the side of our story. But let me take this opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate the errors that honorable members have picked. And we, as administration or as management, we take full responsibility of the errors on our part, as it is an oversight, not necessarily deliberate. But through you, Speaker, we want to humbly apologize, as well as request that we, as administration, we be given an opportunity to attend to all areas picked by honorable members. But also just to say, I'm not justifying the errors, but to say we circulated the document many times to administration, saying let's assist, because as a person, individually, you can be able to pick areas of errors, especially from page 1 to page 154. And the entire management never raised these things. So I fully take responsibility on their behalf and commit to say we will correct if we are given an opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, the Chair of the committee, and greetings to the members of the committee. Chairperson, on internal arrangements, there's nothing much that was being asked. It was only the matter of the tree, which if you can check on the resolution there, it will tell you that Public Works was raising the issue of capacity constraint, which I believe at this moment that we are at, they should have covered that part, because if you can check, they filled most of the posts recently. So I think some of the challenges will be covered that now they've covered, they've filled most of the posts. So on that one, also on your package, honorable members, I think it should be the last pages there. You should find a report on some of the challenges that we have concerning internal arrangements that Public Works has also updated us on how they are going to deal with the matter. It's just that now it was not really presented. Also, I think Honorable Mahasela asked if there is any legislature that came to Limpopo on issue of benchmarking. I think, as far as I remember, Northwest was here recently. So I think we should then get the report on that. But Northwest has been doing some benchmarking with us. I think on the capacity and other things that we are doing well as Limpopo Legislature, and looking into the challenges that they are having as Northwest. So that is the one legislature that I know that have been here to check, just to benchmark with us on the challenges that they have on Northwest, and that they've seen that Limpopo is doing well on the best practices that Limpopo is doing as a legislature. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks. We as well received the legislature from the Eastern Cape, where the Deputy Speaker, Chair of Chairs, Deputy Chair of Chairs, the Chair of Public Participation, and the Petitions Committee were here. So, where they wanted to understand how we run our own processes, including the Petitions Committee, which they came, and they were very appreciative of what they've learned from us. On the issue of the errors, we humbly apologize, and we want to request if the committee, while agreeing with us, if they agree with us that they give others us a day or two, that will resubmit an edited document, so we can be able to be allowed to correct the errors that are there, grammatical errors and other errors. I fully take responsibility as the executive authority because I've signed the document. But I'm just happy the people who write the documents now realize how bad it is when they do the poor job that we always complain that I can't sign documents on the passages. I can't be sitting here, somebody waiting for me out here, want me to sign a document that I can't be able to read fully. And when you do it, it's like you are becoming every time and it's a problem. You must manage that, meet the deadlines, but on the other hand, make people feel whatever it is the documents. So we are pleading with the committee to give us at least a day or two so that we can make the corrections and submit the right one as soon as we can. On the percentages of the target, I think the Secretary spoke about it, but what I can indicate, when we're doing the quarterly report, fourth quarter, I think members have realized coronary targets are beyond our control. Let's say the bills, if parliamentary bills, the public participation process depends on the number of bills we receive. So if we write our target 5, but disability under performance. If batisha 10, give over performance. Mara, when we say 100% every quarter, it means every quarter when we receive whatever, it must be attended fully in that quarter. So we can't say we've received 5 in that quarter, we only attended 2. So that is how the 100% of every quarter comes in. I'm not sure if it clarifies that. On the vetting, when you said we needed to clarify what vetting is. When people say this person has not been vetted, there is a screening that is done when a person is appointed. And normally that screening is not giving you the power to say you can appoint a person or not appoint a person. The screening just tell you, appoint, una criminal record, or una skoloto, or una laying, and the vetting report that you get from the ID, because they get it from the fingers, it tells you the recommendations whether that person is still appointable or not. So on that basis, there is no report that we sit with that says there are people who are not qualified to be appointed. We don't have that. If it's said somewhere else, we don't know. We have the report, they went through the screening, and the people that were supposed to be appointed, the report indicates, yes, this person you can appoint, but take a risk. Look at the risk of how this person is going to do. Then you come back and say, based on that risk, you go through the straight security vetting when the person is already within the system, which is now the next level that was supposed to come in. To say, okay, that this person, we picked 1 or 2 things. On those things that you pick up. For example, we all have all or 90% of people who are drivers. Bana lady tickets. Chauri, bank ke sa bofa lepanta, or maybe I overtook on a burial lie or whatsoever. And wa lebala wa se patele ticket eo. When we do the screening, it picks it up. Gore ka ngwaga o moso, o kile wa ba le this thing. But that does not mean this person does not qualify to be appointed. I was just giving an example with that one. So then you must come back and say, how does the ticket here traffic hindara motho dia mmereko wa gagwe wa tshwantse o dira? Then the state security will tell us, or motho le ka mo fa fela classified information, confidential, body fadi levels, ja gore motho o qualifier information e jwang. Now you know that even if you appoint, then that person you appoint that person with what conditions that you can appoint with. With that one you do it, it takes long. We can start vetting now. It can take 3 years before we get the final report. It takes long. It's not a small, because they must vet you, everything. They vet you, everything, with your family and everything. They do comprehensive vetting on that. I needed maybe to, if I wasted time, I apologize. On the financial implications why the Speaker convened the sitting, we don't convene the sitting. We are guided by the rules. The rules, the PFMA are clear. Immediately when the minister presents the budget speech, the PFMA got rules on the number of days we have. That within this number of days, within 14 days, all legislatures of the province should have done it. And all legislatures of the province have done it. It's not only Limpopo. Even when we were supposed to retable, the meeting was convened by the Speaker of National Parliament to tell us, all of you have retabled, and all of us, including me, whoever says it was a wasteful expenditure must explain why. Because RENA were following the law at that time. Because if we did not table within the time frame, in line with, especially because RENA, Premier Ibile Ufile, Sopaya Relata, therefore, we're at the tail end, where we used, we even missed the deadline by 1 day. Chachile emisia table chinkalo. Very missy check at Chachile one, but we negotiated the National Treasury, they understood because Sopaya Ibile lat. So therefore, it's not that the Speaker just woke up in the morning and now we come back and say you're fruitless. We will be able to, if they can, that matter can be raised, we'll be able to provide why we think it is not fruitless, because later now we're guided by the rules. And what the rules say, so we are to follow the rules as they are. So the number, we look at it. The filling of the post of the media licensing officer. Why? The positions in the office of the Speaker are guided by presiding officer's handbook. There are a number of positions that are even the process on how to appoint are not necessarily in line with how the normal HR is working. On that note, when we arrived, there were officials that were seconded to our office. From the Chief of Staff, he was seconded. There were a number of officials, the PA, everybody was seconded. Until when, after the budget adjustment, it was done and the final budget was done. The secretary came to the office of the Speaker and said, you are underspending because of the secondment of the staff that we've given you. And now that even the media licensing officer we've not appointed, we think you are overworking the communications unit, when some things that are in the office of the Speaker are supposed to be done by the media licensing office. So that is the context that I can indicate why it was just like that. But the budget was given and the process was followed, and unfortunately, all along with it, we thought we can stay with the Deputy Speaker without the media licensing officer. Maybe we can work through our communications, until we realized that the communications was overstretched. Some of the things needed the support from the office of the Speaker. That's why I've put it in that way. I think we have spoken about benchmarking. On item 5, I was looking through the FAMPLA. We will give the reports, but it has limitations. We'll look at FAMPLA in terms of reports we are supposed to report to the oversight mechanism. The FAMPLA is clear on the reports. The reason why I felt I requested to brief you, it was on the basis of anomalies that are happening in the legislature. But I'm happy that you are not willing to take the report. I will not bring it. Because the report that I was going to bring you is not going to be the same with the report that we are going to give you on the state of the administration of the legislature, because that one must be in line with FAMPLA. But as well, we still have a limitation. Those that the officials who work in the legislature who were here before, they know that the former speaker has never appeared in oversight mechanism. The challenges she had was the officials that are analyzing these documents, some are not supposed to have access to the reports we're supposed to give you, even in terms of chapter 2 of FAMPLA. We must give you the report, but it will not go through them, and they can't analyze it for you. We will give to our members, and the meeting will be between us and members. The reports will be given you as confidential directly to yourselves, then we'll come and present to you, because they can't be analyzed by them. So I'm just indicating that there's that kind of a limitation. But even in that, the reason why some of the things will not indicate in that is because of issue PAIA. There are things we can't indicate in the PAIA because it affects individuals, it affects people. Once there is something that affects people, you can't distribute that without their consent. So we need to be careful on managing PAIA, but making sure that we are fully accounting to the oversight in terms of you better understanding. But we have serious problems in the legislature. We're just navigating, and we're happy we've got interest at heart to understand, but there are big problems that we're trying to navigate around, and we are happy that even under those challenges that we have, I think she can tell you, the chair, that on Thursday, we tested the system was working of the legislature that we use. On Friday morning, during the youth parliament, we were sitting in the briefing when technical people tested the system was working. 10 minutes before the sitting starts, everything went off. We had to sit for 30 minutes trying to look for a sound system. And it was somebody deliberately wanted to collapse the city. It was these staff members. So I'm just saying, people must not come here, it's all. They wanted the youth parliament to collapse because they did that. I was there, and honorable member was there in Relela. When they deliberately collapsed the event, all of a sudden we evacuated, the event collapsed. We arranged the event, it was a youth parliament, it was in Relela in Zanin. They caused chaos, officials. All of a sudden, they called the police, evacuate us, the event collapsed. So even Friday one, they wanted it to collapse. So as we speak, we're not sure whether on Tuesday when we are going to sit, whether the system will be working or we'll go and take the one that we hired. So there are problems in the legislature. We're dealing with them. They're not easy to deal with because unfortunately some of the officials, I will say in this meeting, they mentioned some of the names of members. That they can't do anything. We have got big people who are covering us. And they mention names, unfortunately. But it's something that we will not stoop low, try to point any member of the legislature with a finger. Rena will do what is required to be done. Because we think we've got the responsibility to do that. And we'll continue to respect this committee. Whatever this committee wants us to do, we'll do whatever you want to do. We'll never run away. We are supposed to account in this committee. It's not a mistake that you are calling us. Whether you call us 5 days in a week, we will have to leave everything, come here and listen to you because you are our bosses. So whatever you say, we follow it. But I just wanted to indicate or ako easy. So re no bereka ka baka la hore e ba o file mmereko o ka se no tswa furu wa raksadi. So DS realized, saw me on Monday that at some point I thought, I think I've got children to take care of. Maybe this thing of speaker, somebody else must come and take over. Because at some point I get, very emotional. No, but it's very personal because the attack is personal. If people go and tamper with the brakes of the car, it's now a criminal case. Because they wanted me to die. So it's not something that I can hide and come here laugh at if all this is normal. It's deep. So I'm just saying, Ore, as executive authority, I'm trying my level best, and I will never stoop toe low. But sometimes when you sleep alone, you say, but will my children remain without a mother just because of position of a speaker? We have lived before without these positions, and children never served before. So I'm saying, Chair, I'm in deep hurt. So whatever we do, there are things that are not necessarily very well because people can't sit to plan all the time to collapse the function of the legislature. You fix this, they break this. You fix this, they break this. Just because people want to steal. I'm not going to stop that to the works. They will continue. And I will not stop the forensic audit. It will continue. And whoever they touch, unfortunately, I'm one person who believes in good governance. I will not defend anyone. If you are found wanting, you will account. Because people can't work very hard because they think they want to collapse the system, they must find a way. Before we come here, we had 3 meetings. One meeting, there is a fence that has been done. People did not follow specifications of the subs because they want to steal the money. Now the fence is completed, Now sub says we must remove it. People are paid money. It's new fence, it has never worked, but they did not follow specifications because we are a national key point, it no longer qualifies. There is a system that I'm talking about. We paid 8 million to do certain things for that system to work. It is not working. A person is sitting with 8 million. So now when you query these things, you become an enemy. But how do I sit with a system that is not working? We get frustrated every day. You complain, the things you complain about, all those things were part of the things we're supposed to have done, got 8 million. But anyway, the report will come as and when we bring the report. But I just wanted to share with you my frustrations to say, well, I wait for your call. We'll be ready to come and present to the committee. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. It's another question or a question for clarity. Okay. Honorable Nepumburuni. No. I'm chairing this meeting. Nepumburuni, Honorable Mukweli, Molapo.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm just wanted to appreciate the apology in terms of the document. But however, you see, maybe some administrators think that the members of the committee cannot just read all these documents. Recently, all political parties deploy people who can read, no longer dropouts. So, what I'm appealing is that, you see, when I come from home, Mraruwe, to come here and you see the document like this, it's embarrassing, very embarrassing. And we respect the sitting. This sitting is for the public consumption. Only to find that the document is not accurate, the document has never been proofreading and so on. And I think collectively, those who are responsible, they must see to it that next time they are not going to repeat it. But however, I think we must have a consequence management. I mean, this is a public document. Like that, like a grade 12, I mean grade 7 people maybe, and so on. And I'm not taking it lightly. I'm so disappointed by that. And we could not as a committee to say that people must go back because we want the work to be done here. And while you are apologizing, to apologize does not mean that consequence management must not be applied. It must be applied so that next time people are not repeating this thing. But I think it should be a corrective consequence management, a corrective one, so that we do it honestly. Maybe the new CFO, the new chief of staff, and the new other people will assist. Really appreciating that you are here to see the face of the CFO, that this man can manage the public funds. So, good luck. And the other people. But my point is that they will assist in terms of making sure that the public documents are as accurately as possible. And they talk, I mean, there is relevancy on what we are doing. And as I'm appealing to the consequence management, but the correct one, because an apology has been accepted. And also I accept that apology, but still hard.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think on the request of the speaker for 2 days this week, we are agreeing that let's go and correct it. And we must be very clear, Honorable Speaker, that we are not only worried because of the is and the there's, or let me just say the technical spelling. The spellings are technical and they can happen, especially when you have a document. You can look at it 10 times, you may not see that you have written impolice instead of implies. That happens. But what challenges us is when we talk of the legislature, but as we go down, you start to talk of the municipality, and we don't understand where it gets in. That was very, very frustrating for us, and we hope that such issues will be able to be attended to. There is a verse kamo bebeleng ke lebetse gore keng ya speaker ya gore re ska ra lapa o dira o loka. We must never be tired to be righteous, to do correct things. It doesn't matter. The challenges will always be there and you are aware. But what I'm trying to say is the reason why we agreed on removing number 5 is not that we don't want the contents of number 5. We still want them. We need to just hold them. But we want them to come after we have submitted also the letter that we requested the chairperson, so that you deal with these issues holistically. We know that you have got issues that we wanted to brief us, but we also wanted issues that will be briefed by the letter which will be submitted. We learned that it has not been submitted to you yet, but it's coming, so that when you have that meeting, you brief us on everything. Because as much as you account to this committee must also be able to assist you to run that particular legislature. It can't be on your head or on your shoulders alone. The reason why we have got this committee is to look at those challenges that you are raising and come up with measures, because we can't have people in an institution ba e le hore ba kwisha re ba tshwantse ba ke no fela ke shumisha lentswe le la hore batho ba iketsetsa. And when they have to account, they think that somebody is coming with some other issues. They have responsibilities and accountability. So if these things that we have been doing all along, and now we come to the 7th administration, and then we have to do things right, and you think that other people are not right, then you are having a problem. So we must start to demobilize. We must assist you to make the staff to demobilize. If it is staff, and if it is us as honorable members as well, we must also demobilize on our ways to approach issues, so that we start to do things right, so that we start to serve the people of Limpopo in the right way. So we are looking for that meeting where we can be able to come out of that particular meeting with a solid resolution and a solid approach to ensure that the legislature must operate in a way that it should be, to assist the 7th administration to achieve the mandate as we're given. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Just to be quick, we are just doing our work, and we will continue to do our work. And I want to say some of these things. Some of the issues that some of us have actually raised here, they were never raised anywhere either or analyzed by the researcher. Maybe the message that we must also send, Honorable Speaker, to the team, Dr. Mark, is that some of us, we have been in the administration, and we will continue to read this document as and when you give us. And we will not be mobilized by anybody. And the reason why, because there were also issues, and I think the latter speaker spoke about them. There were issues that were actually on the public domain. And we then said we can't keep quiet about some of these things. Maybe it's also proper that he writes a letter to you and we engage on those issues. We get a comprehensive written report or comprehensive reports on those matters, so that the committee must be on board on those issues. Just also for us also to play an oversight role. We also agree that where there's a need for consequence management, let it be so. That's how it goes. Because don't do wrong things and expect to get protection from who? We will not protect wrong things as honorable members. We've got reputation also to protect as honorable members of this legislature. That's the message that we want to send, to say, but equally that the work the quality of work of the reports that we'll be getting, I am of that of quality standard, because we should not get even errors that should have been picked up by anybody when he was actually perusing. And I agree with you on that. You can't start this document from page 1 up until the last page. There should be somebody who does that work, so that when it comes to your office, that work is actually, you don't have also to check even spelling errors. But even issues of cut and paste, I mean, and those are some of the things that are there in the report, and which we really, that you have also acknowledged them. So, and we appreciate, go and correct them in the next 2 days, the document comes back, and so that when it's there, even in our archive, we know it's one of the quality reports that we have actually received. But it was important for us to raise those issues here, so that you know, if it's your responsibility that, we are going to read these documents. it's our responsibility to read them. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Mula. The last one.
Okay, thanks, Honorable Chair. No, I'm not going to be long, Chair. Let me say to the Speaker and the Secretary that we do this thing in good faith, and to assist you, Speaker, to preserve your credibility. Because you see, when these documents now go public, have passed this committee, they go public, your signature is there. They will not say it's a photocopy machine that made a mistake, or a typist, or quality assurance personnel and all of that. They will say is Dr. Makurupeti. So we do this in good faith. We appreciate the fact that we've taken responsibility. And I did not get that clearly from the Secretary, that he takes responsibility. Maybe the problem was that you gave another official an opportunity to take responsibility. But we appreciate our collective responsibility on this, and then that you are even requesting that we move these documents back, they get corrected. And we plead with the staff, please go through each and every sentence, paragraph, word, page, so that when you bring them again, we don't take you back because you did not put is, are, whatever. Everything is proper. So that is my comment, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Meta. Oh,
Thank you, Chair. It was me after.
okay.
Chair, mine is also a comment to say that the speakership must be rest assured that they have a support of this committee, because we are responsible for holding them accountable, and they are responsible for holding the officials accountable. Therefore, if there's anyone who's tampering with the work of the legislature, they must be held accountable. If there's some fairing that the speaker must do, it must be done in the interest of the people that we are all here representing. So you must not be fearful, Speaker. You must go there, take those decisions, because at the end of the day, if the legislature is not functioning well, it's going to reflect on us, and that is what we don't want to see at the end of the day. So we are here as this committee to do our work, to give the necessary support, and to make sure that we channel things to the right direction.
Honorable Meta.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. Let me also join my colleagues in appreciating the collective responsibility of what the speakership has taken. You see, sometimes it's heartbreaking. And it can be that under the leadership of this 7th administration, we seem to want to see the collapse of the institution like legislature. That will be very wrong. The Speaker is raising very pertinent issues, very critical issues, that I think, in my view, at some point, Chairperson, I think we must revive our study groups, so that if there are elements of members who are also joining part in collapsing the institution, that matter must be dealt with at that level. So we need to have study groups so that we are able to discuss more critical and pertinent issues at that level. Because our role, like I said, is to play an oversight over executive, including all sector departments. So we can't come here and become problem while we're supposed to provide problem. I'm just raising it. And administratively, they need to work very hard. Like others have said, in terms of quality assurance of the work. It's true, this thing is going into the archives. 5, 10 years down the line, will not be here. And will be on the record, they are saying Honorable Mitle was part of the oversight mechanism that they can be produced and be referred or cited at some point with the police. It's not right. We need to correct that. I'm happy because we are agreeing with the request that let's make sure that we correct that and make sure that we move on. Thanks, Chairperson.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We really appreciate what the Speaker and the Secretary did, and we really support them. And I don't want to repeat what other members have said. We are one team. We must support each other so that, yes, we must be proud of our legislature. I don't have much to say, but I just want to thank the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker and the Secretary. And yes, you have raised the issue of study group. It's more important because we must deal with some certain sensitive issues, especially among ourselves. And we don't have much time to say. We're just saying that thank you very much.
Maybe, Chair, just a small thing, if the committee can allow me. There is, we have given honorable members the document called members' benefits. If you can see that document, it was signed off some time back. So we are encouraging the members if they want some amendments to the document. I will write a formal letter to this chair so that the members of the committee can look at it, because there are members who are requesting that we bring the bursary of members into that item so that we are able to cater some of the things that are not being catered for now. There are two members who have written to us, so we'll refer the matter back to yourselves. You advise on which are the areas where you think we need the amendments to it. So it needs the attention of the committee. So I just wanted to. So, but on the letter, the sooner we get the letter, the committee coordinate, so that we can quickly prepare the report for members to be ready anytime if they want to call us for a meeting, because obviously they will call us a meeting when their report is ready. But right now we make sure that the report is ready as soon as possible. And I feel so humble today.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The letter, you'll get the letter tomorrow. There's no problem, it's prepared already. Do we have that document which the Speaker was? Because most members, they just receive documents and they could shelve them somewhere. No, just recent. Yeah, otherwise it's a problem. Okay. No, thank you very much. And announcements, there is tea outside. And yes, all of us, when you are instructed to go and drink that tea, 2 hours. It's a strategy from above. Yes, all of us. Yeah. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.